Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. A good day and greetings to all. Thank you for joining us virtually and in spirit in today's webinar, focusing on the issue of protecting seafarers, an essential pillar in sustainable shipping. My name is Marla Asis. I'm director of the Scalabrini Migration Center. We are co-organizing this webinar with Stella Maris Philippines. September is a month full of commemorative events in relation to the importance of our oceans and seas, the shipping industry, and not to forget the people of the sea, that is, the many seafarers, fishers, and their families. Today, September 24, is World Maritime Day, and for this year, the celebration is calling our attention to the theme Sustainable Shipping for a Sustainable Planet. In this webinar, we focus on the seafarers and fishers not only as essential workers in our global economy, but most of all as valuable members of our human family. The webinar highlights the continuing importance to promote the protection of seafarers. While there are international laws, international organizations, and labor unions that promote the protection of seafarers, there are many gaps. Seafaring and fishing are sectors that are fraught with many hazards. The Stella Maris, also known to many as Apostleship of the Sea, or AOS, is one of the organizations that has accompanied the people of the sea in the last 100 years. The year 2020 is the centenary of Stella Maris, which was founded in Glasgow on October 4, 1920. And for us here in the Philippines, it's the 62nd year of the first Stella Maris that was founded here in 1958. We will hear about the work and the ministry of Stella Maris in accompanying the people of the sea through the many years. So this year, we commemorate and celebrate the many events and milestones in the maritime sector. That is World Maritime Day, the centenary of Stella Maris, and locally this week is also National Maritime Week, which will conclude with National Seafarers Day on September 27. We are doing these events amid a crippling and devastating pandemic. So we also reflect on the challenges that COVID-19 has brought for the seafarers and fishers, how we can support and care for each other in these very troubled times, and how we can also shape sustainable shipping, which puts the protection and welfare of seafarers and fishers as a commitment and as a norm rather than as an exception. Our program is divided into two parts. The first part, we will hear messages from three speakers, and the second part will be devoted to a description of the work and the ministry of Stella Maris centers in three centers and also in Taiwan and the UK. So we officially begin our program with a prayer to be led by Mrs. Melde Milona Fabe Gamones. She is the president of the Seafarers Wives Stella Maris Philippines.
In deep silence, let us put ourselves in the loving presence of God the Father Almighty, God the Son Jesus Christ, and God the Holy Spirit within and among us. Lord, everything comes from you. Help us see the world with the marvelous work of your creation and appreciate the goodness of everyone. In all humility, we ask your mercy and compassion, of your unconditional forgiveness of our frailties and shortcomings. Invoke the power of your Holy Spirit to all the people, religious and lay, men and women, who are involved in the apostolate of caring for the people of the sea, today, tomorrow, and even beyond the new normal. With grateful hearts, we lift up to you Stella Maris, and Scalabrinian congregation whose presence are felt in the 6 continents of the globe. Grant them the grace to continually share their lives, journeying with migrants, refugees, seafarers, fisher folks, and their families. Guide and protect our unsung heroes from the dangers and perils of the sea, and even in the storm, grant them courage, peace, and calm in their hearts. When they are far from home, loved ones, and their country, help them wherever they are, that they will never drift beyond your love and care. Take care of us, Lord, their families who are left behind. Give us the strength in living out gospel values to surpass all life's trials and challenges. In Jesus' name, we pray. Our Lady, Star of the Sea, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Maraming salamat po, Ate Melds. I also just want to mention that the support to the families of seafarers is a very important part of the work of Stella Maris Centers. No? As Ate Melds has mentioned in the prayer, the maintenance of family relationships between extended separation is a part of the seafaring life and part of the many challenges of a seafaring life. I'd also like to mention that Ate Melds, that her family, the family of Mrs. Fabi Gamones, was the 2014 Model OFW Family of the Year awardee in the National Capital Region. She is actively involved in the Diocese of Cubao Migrants Ministry as a lay coordinator. She was also an awardee of the Gawad Ulirang Ina by the Quezon City government. Along with her role as wife, mother, and lay coordinator, she is also unit manager of Insular Life, Quezon Avenue Branch. Maraming salamat po sa pag-lead sa atin sa ating opening prayer. Thank you. So perhaps also at this point, I would also just like to invite us to have a moment of silence to pray for the seafarers who have lost their lives. We remember the seafarers whose ship, the Gulf Livestock One, disappeared off Japan in early September. Of the 43 crew, 39 are Filipinos, 2 are Australians, and 2 are from New Zealand. So can we just spend a moment of silence to remember them and for their safety and rest? And we also thank God that we have two seafarers who survived this tragedy and that they are back home. We offer a special prayer also for the families of those who are still waiting for news of their loved ones. So now we come to our next speaker, and he is someone who holds overseas Filipinos and their families very close to his heart. We are blessed to have him with us and to hear his message to Filipino seafarers, fishers, and their families. Our next speaker is none other than Most Reverend Ruperto Cruz Santos, Doctor of Divinity, STL. He's the Bishop of the Diocese of Balanga and is Bishop Promoter of Apostleship of the Sea or Stella Maris Philippines. Bishop Santos wears many hats. He is the CBCP Chairman of Pontificio Colegio Filipino, the Coordinator for Asia of World Apostolic Congress on Mercy, and he is a contributor to Life Today, a print media apostolate of the Dominican province of Our Lady of the Rosary. So, Bishop Santos, please.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Merla, Father Bruno, Reverend Monsignor, Reverend Fathers, my brothers and sisters in Christ. On behalf of the Catholic Bishop Conference of the Philippines, let me express our gratitude for the services and sacrifices of our dedicated and devoted seafarers. With your hard works, strength in body and spirit, your ship reached their destination efficiently and safely. We proudly recognize the sensible and credible pastoral care of the Apostleship of the Seas, Philippines. Our seafarers find a caring and loving home in our Stella Maris. The Philippine Catholic Church is not only very proud of you, but we spiritually journey with you in our prayers and commitment to your welfare and well-being. We are one with you for the promotion of your rights and protections. In the assuring words of our beloved Pope Francis, you are not forgotten. Thanking the Apostleship of the Seas Philippines, Scalabrini Migration Center, and Marina for this webinar, let me share with you my reflective message focusing on the movements of the ship. For me, these are the following. First, ship sails in the open sea. Second, ship carries its load. And lastly, ship reaches the port and readies to sail again. First, the ship is made to sail to venture to the open seas. A ship docked at the port is safe, but that is not what the ship is meant for. She has to sail. Her strength is make sure how she faces the harsh weather and braves the unpredictable oceans. Our life here on earth is a journey as if we are sailing on earth towards our true home in heaven. Whatever life has to offer, we go on. Even life has its ups and downs, we are ready to ride into it. Even life is not smooth sailing, as its road is rough and rugged, we always raise our sail and look beyond the new horizon. Our dearest seafarers, chaplains, don't let the storms of separation and loneliness break your spirit and make you withdraw into dark corner of your being. Don't let the waves of material pleasure and luxuries distract your vision of harmonious homecoming to your loved ones. We must not let the temptations of easy money or vices ruin our dreams of a happy and healthy family. Just remember, with our innate qualities as brave and best Filipino seafarers, our potentials for being fruitful and successful are as immense as the seas. And in spite of what lies ahead, sail on. Second, the ship carries her load. It can either be cargo or passengers or both. As the ship takes her load, you do everything to give your best. Everything is well taken care of, protected, and conserved. Nothing will be lost, damaged, or wasted. Everybody is protected and being served with utmost diligence and respect. In our earthly sailing, we bring and carry our luggage. We bear our loads. We are advised not too many luggages to slow down our journey. So in life, take only what is very necessary, cast aside what will hinder us from completing our pilgrimage to God. Our dearest seafarers and chaplains, you have heavy burdens on your shoulders, and the load weighs you down. Climate batters our body. Sustenance at home and the present conditions of family members sometimes undermine our mental disposition. So be strong. Set your sight on God. Trust in Him. Let Jesus be the captain of your soul. Anchor your life on His words. Jesus will surely keep us safe and successful. If you are in pain or nursing family problems, your chaplains are available to walk with you and work for you. If you feel alone or at loss, your Scalabrini are your home and your comfort. If you need rest and refuge, your Apostleship of the Seas are your shelter and family. Come to us, and we will walk alongside with you and help you carry your loads. Facing trials is like being hurled into the fiercest storm in the sea. But be encouraged. God's providence is greater than all the problems and afflictions in the ocean of life. Nothing and no one can hinder His plans for you. His voice will be a beacon of light in the middle of the sea, telling us, take courage, it is I, do not be afraid. Matthew chapter 14, verse 27. Lastly, the ship reaches her port. Even though the sea journey is long and tiring, the ship will surely dock at the port. Amid storms and the scorching heat of the sun, the ship's journey will come to its completion. Whatever the hindrance may be, the ship sails. Difficulties and setbacks will not derail nor stop her from sailing. Reaching the port, the ship gets reviewed, making sure everything's accounted for, getting repairs or restorations done. She readies for the next safe voyages. Yes, along our journey, we get tired and even hurt. Our hearts can come from being rejected or ridiculed because of our color or costume, or even with our accent. We hear offensive words. We are in pain because of problems at home or with our working relationship on board. These are the moments to turn to God and trust Him more. Remember, God is always beside you. Recall His goodness. Our Almighty God will repress our spirit, and we will surpass all those hardships. He will strengthen us, sustain us for rain services. Our dearest seafarers and chaplains, our journey does not stop. But once at the port or at home, we focus not on the past, but what lies ahead. We nurse our wounds, we correct our mistakes, and we equip ourselves better with faith and experience and hope. As the ship prepares herself to sail, we likewise move on. We don't give up, having the assurance that with God, we will have a very successful completion of our journey and ultimately He will lead us safely back home. On September 11th, Friday, I, together with my parish priest at St. Michael the Archangel in Orion, Father Percival Medina, along with Italian Comboni missionaries of the Sacred Heart, Father Pierpaolo Monella, were supposed to be at the port of the Tagumpin in Barangay Puting Buhangin in Orion for the first crew change hub outside Manila. It is the commitment of our country to the International Green Lane Protocol, where the change of crew of a certain vessel is accepted and facilitated. But reflecting deeper, this is not only to fulfill the international protocol, but it is also a manner of showing our true character, our true nature. That is, we are genuinely very hospitable people, always extending our hands to help. With grateful hearts, we thank and appreciate the goodness of our municipal mayor, Antonio Raimundo, who promptly arranged everything, informing him that our diocese will be Palanga is always open and offering her pastoral and spiritual services. We in Bataan, especially in Barangay Puting Buhangin and on Orion, are not afraid to welcome those seafarers amidst the threat of COVID-19 pandemic. We narrated to Father Pierpaolo that Bataan was formerly a refuge and home to the so-called boat people fleeing from the Indochina Wars. And from then on, Bataan has no borders. Her roads, our homes are wide open, especially for those who take the journey of hope. Unfortunately, Father Percival Medina, whom came to meet twice, was contact traced from baptism he ministered the Sunday of September 6. This temporarily put a halt to our plans. But like a ship on quarantine, we patiently wait until the time we can go to Port Capinpin and to welcome our dear seafarers. Who knows, you might be one of them. Meanwhile, let us anticipate the moment by fixing our gaze at the street movements of ship and of our life. We sail, we carry, and we reaches our port. Thank you so much, and God bless.
So, thank you very much, Bishop Santos, for that very inspiring message. Actually, what Bishop Santos has related to us is really the journey of hope, no? And the assurance that even if seafarers, unlike land-based workers, most of the time they are out of sight, but there's always the assurance that wherever there are Stella Maris centers, they are never alone. Okay? So we move next to our next sharer. He is a Scalabrinian missionary who spent many years in Asia. Father Bruno Cicere is representative of the Stella Maris International at the Holy See's Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development, Vatican City. He is also a member of the Executive Council of the International Christian Maritime Association. As a Scalabrinian missionary, Father Bruno has worked caring for migrants, refugees, and seafarers around the world. Between 1996 and 2008, he was director of the Stella Maris International Service Center and port chaplain of Kaohsiung, Taiwan. But prior to that, between 1985 and 1996, he was based in the Philippines working with migrant workers here. Father Bruno, welcome, and you have the floor. Father.
Miss Marla, good afternoon.
Yes. Is Father
Yes,
Bruno online?
I have yet to find him here on backstage, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Father
Um,
Bruno. Hello, Father Bruno. Father Bruno. Hello. Yes. Can you please transfer to StreamYard? The audio is
Okay. I think while we are waiting for Father Bruno to come in, um, I'd also just like to go back to one thing that Bishop Santos mentioned in his message to us. He mentioned about the green lane for seafarers, no? And he was saying that the one in Bataan is the first hub outside of Metro Manila. It would be good to know also for us here in the Philippines that I think we were the first country to open the green lane for seafarers in Asia to allow the free movement of seafarers and personnel across borders. This is very important to our seafarers because they need they need to have a break, from being out in the sea for a very long period of time. And actually, that was one of the problems that many seafarers faced in this pandemic, that they were not allowed to have a crew change in some ports of the world. And so that led to many of them extending their work on board. And of course, that has very dire consequences for their health, especially their mental well-being. So, Bishop, can you tell us a little bit about your experience in welcoming the seafarers in Bataan?
We are supposed to go last September 11, but the parish priest was contact traced of COVID-19, and he
Oh, I
was
see.
with me twice. And the reason that we postponed it and we are waiting for the next crew change, and we are still waiting for that priest to be negative. But we are ready and we are on
I
hold.
see.
And anytime that we can go there, we are offering them that we can listen to them, and then we can celebrate the mass and do some counseling. We have
Okay.
informed the mayor that we will be staying there until we meet them and we send the next crew
All
so
right.
that we can talk to them, and also what is to tell stories, sharing stories, and counseling.
Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much, Bishop. I think the important thing is also the spirit of welcome, right? Maraming salamat po. And then I think Father Bruno is now with us.
Yeah,
Hi, Father Bruno. I have introduced you earlier, and so we are very happy to have you here and to hear your message.
yeah. Good afternoon for the people in Asia and good morning for the people in Europe. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizer for having invited me to attend this webinar on the occasion of the World Maritime Day. However, for us, members of the Stella Maris network, there are two other important reasons to celebrate and to reflect. First of all, today is the liturgical feast of Our Lady Star of the Sea, or in Latin, Stella Maris. Stella Maris has long been the title under which the people of the sea have called the Blessed Virgin Mary. And also is the name with which the seafarers and the fisher, they know our organization more than Apostleship of the Sea. Now, talking about Stella Maris, we know that in many nations on the seashore, there are churches that they are dedicated to Mary, Star of the Sea. And if you visit these churches, there are sign of gratitude to the Blessed Virgin for having how to make the shipping industry more and their family, so that in this time of pandemic, they will be safe. But most of all, they will be able to find a job and to be able to provide for a comfortable future for all their family members. We know that the situation of COVID-19 has brought the maritime industry to a stop, especially the cruise ship. And we know that many Filipino seafarers are employed on board of cruise ship, and for sure the next few months they will be quite hard for them. So let us hope that the Blessed Virgin will be able to provide and to touch the heart of many people, so that the life of seafarers and fisher will be improved. The second reason for which we rejoice is that in 10 days, October 10, we will celebrate the 100th year of foundation of the Stella Maris. By this time, we should have been all in Glasgow, in Scotland, where the Stella Maris was founded, and we would have been there to celebrate the 25th World Congress and the centenary. However, the COVID-19 has forced us to change our plan, but we have not canceled it. We have just postponed it. So we hope that October next year we will be in Glasgow to celebrate. Now, one question, what it means for us to celebrate the 100 year of foundation. First of all, we have to look at the past, to learn and to be inspired by the people that have served the seafarers, the fishers and their family before us. You in the Philippines, I heard Marla saying, you have a great history of serving the people of the sea, 67 years. And you have been celebrating also National Seafarers Day, National Week Seafarers Day, and that is a very good initiative in order to increase the awareness of the people to the problems and the difficulties that the seafarers that they are always encountering every day. So in the past, we learned the importance of protecting the human and labor right of the worker of the sea, especially now in this situation of COVID. It was been mentioned, all the seafarers stranded at sea because it's still difficult to organize crew change. But also I think for the Stella Maris Philippines, there is another challenge, and the challenge is how to maintain the Christian faith of the Filipino seafarers. Like in any society, when the progress enter into the society, people, they change their perspective in life, and also the faith, the religion become less important. And somehow this can be noticed also on the Filipino seafarers. And so as Stella Maris working in the Philippines, this is a challenge that you have. Second things that we have to do while we are celebrating the centennial is to look at the challenges of the present. With the COVID-19, many are the challenges for us as Stella Maris. Globally, we have shifted from a gangway ministry to a virtual ministry. And so we have to use the social media more wisely to sustain and to support the people that seek our assistance. Personally, I think that the biggest challenge for Stella Maris Philippines in this day, it will be in the next few months how to provide support for the thousands and thousands seafarers left unemployed by the maritime industry, as I mentioned before, especially by the cruise industry. Will be enough to provide some financial assistance, or how we can bring some support to the family. A third step in celebrating the centennial is to look at the future. How Stella Maris is preparing itself to sail into the next century. What is the essential contribution that, as the largest Catholic welfare organization in the maritime world, we are going to bring to the industry? It will be enough for us to provide free Wi-Fi, free transportation, and be an hub for the seafarers to pick up their Amazon packages, or we have something more to offer to the seafarers, to the fishers and their family? What is the particular specificity that makes Stella Maris different from the many other organizations within the maritime industry? I believe that Stella Maris Philippines has a particular role to play, considering that almost 1/3 of the seafarers are coming from your country, and every year 100,000 young people graduate as seafarers. And I think the Philippines is really sustaining the shipping industry with their young people. So we have to look forward. I'm looking forward to see you in Glasgow again to celebrate, to reflect, and to continue to explore new ways and means to be at the service of the people of the sea. Thank you very much.
Grazie. Thank you very much, Father Bruno. That's a lot of very inspiring thoughts there, as well as challenges. Father Bruno has referred to our very fragile present and what it means in terms of responding to the needs of seafarers. And he mentioned the growing importance of virtual ministry because it's no longer possible to walk up the gangway, but also a lot of things to think about, no? When we think about the future of Stella Maris, and particularly here in the Philippines, which is a major source country of seafarers for the world. Maraming salamat po, Father.
Thank you.
Yes. And now we are honored to have with us an official of the Maritime Industry Authority, or Marina. Marina is a government agency which has as its mission the task to lead a progressive maritime administration for safer people, safer ships, and a cleaner environment. Marina also plays a very important role for the seafaring sector and is a familiar government agency to maritime students, seafarers, and fishers. I am pleased to introduce Engineer Nanette Villamor Dinopol. She's the Deputy Administrator for Operations of Marina. E.A. Dinopol has served the maritime industry in various capacities, the longest of which is as Regional Director of Marina for 25 years. She has actively participated in international, regional, and national meetings and economic cooperation fora, and she has always been at the forefront of promotional, developmental, supervision, and regulation of the maritime industry in the country. She was appointed as Deputy Administrator for Operations in June 2018, which means that she has been spearheading the formulation of the Maritime Safety Plan 2018, the formulation of the Philippine Fishing Vessels Rules and Regulations, the formulation of the rules and regulations on the registration and licensing of recreational boats, and the updating of the RoRo Nautical Highway System. In June 2020, she was designated as the officer in charge, Office of the Executive Director, STCWO, in concurrent capacity as Deputy Administrator for Operations. E.A. Nanette, welcome po, and you have the floor.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, yes. Yeah, we can hear you. Okay.
Can you hear
Yes, we
me?
can. Yeah. We
Hello?
can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
I am encountering problems on the internet connection.
Okay. Let's try to fix that.
To Father Bishop Roberto Cruz
Okay,
Santos.
we're okay now. Yes. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, TA, we can hear you. But maybe we will also need some assistance from Dax and team. She's not in team. Okay, so we also would like to ask for your kind understanding and patience as we try to address some of the technical glitches. Let me see. Perhaps if it will take some time, if it will take some time to have her back on board, maybe we can Okay, I think she's coming.
Ma'am Marla, can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you, but maybe
Okay,
the
can I
connection.
start?
Yes, please do.
Thank,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you. I'm sorry. I have a problem with the internet connection.
That's okay. Yeah.
Bishop Roberto Cruz Santos, Father, to Father Paulo Prigol, the chaplain and director of the Apostleship of the Seafarers, Manila, and to all the chaplains, AOS chaplains on board, to the organizers of this important activity, and to all the attendees, a pleasant afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to extend my sincerest appreciation for this invitation and for giving Marina, the Maritime Industry Authority, the opportunity to be part of this webinar initiated by the AOS Stella Maris Manila during the celebration of Seafarer, an essential pillar to sustainable shipping, and to share with you the programs of our agency in promoting the welfare and protection of our seafarers, particularly in these trying times brought about by the pandemic. The continuing impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on our lives and properties cannot be more than emphasized as we still grapple with its new norms for us to do what we ought to follow our country's maritime industry. Definitely, our stakeholders and industry partners, and most especially our seafarers and fishers, like everyone else, have not been spared from the adversities and challenges due to this crisis. Nevertheless, the imposition of stringent quarantine guidelines has caused the marina to adopt the necessary measures in ensuring our arrangements. Since mid-March, the marina has adopted alternative working arrangements through work from home, reduced on-site skeletal workforce, or their combination as authorized under the civil service regulations, and without substantially disrupting processing of pending and new applications for both shipping and seafarers. This has also been implemented in our regional offices nationwide as may be warranted by circumstances in their areas of jurisdiction. In order to adequately inform our stakeholders on the implementing guidelines of this measure, the agency has issued advisories which cover modified procedures in the submission and processing of shipping and seafarer-related applications through electronic documentation and issuance. Akin to our existing systems for seafarers, we target to launch our overseas shipping service information and monitoring system and the pilot testing of our integrated domestic shipping information system before the year ends. They are envisioned to fully implement cashless transactions by our stakeholders. The pandemic also caused the suspension of examination of our seafarers, which already resumed last month in the central office, that's in Manila, Iloilo, Cebu, and Davao. While we have not yet personally convened as an entire agency, we commit to continue delivering what is expected from us by the industry, from the issuance of necessary policies to the rendering of effective services to our stakeholders. In compliance with the guidelines of the IATF EID on maritime transport, the Marina also directed the initial suspension of training courses for our seafarers in view of class suspensions to prevent further local transmissions of coronavirus in March. Though Upon compliance by the maritime training institutions with the required post-ECQ plan, training may already be conducted through blended learning pursuant to Marina Advisory Number 2020-59. Also part of ensuring compliance of the Interagency Task Force of COVID-19 regulations, we issued guidelines on the resumption of operation of all the shipbuilding and ship repair entities and domestic passenger and cargo ships. Passenger capacity reduced to 50%, including strict observance of social distancing and disinfection on board domestic vessels. The required data in the passenger manifest, which must now be a web-based document, were able to also to be adjusted to aid in contact tracing. Through this forum, we also sought your assistance in further disseminating our recent policy. That's Memorandum Circular DS 2020-01 that directs all domestic shipping lines to provide discounted cargo space to agricultural and food products. This is to ensure uninterrupted food production and delivery, especially during the present pandemic. This specifically requires at least 12% cargo space allocation to agricultural and food products at a 40% discount from their published rate. Under promotion of welfare of maritime stakeholders, especially our Filipino seafarers. Our efforts during the pandemic also relate promote our seafarers. We coordinated with other concerned government and money agencies. To date, the Marina also extended the validity of all STCW certificates, which are due to expire from September 1 to December 31, 2020, for another 1 year. The validity of the Seaman's Book, the SIRB, the Seafarers Record Book, that are due to expire from March 13 to December 31, 2020, has also been extended for another 1 year. This will afford all the seafarers who are on board and assured to really afford them with all the certificates of competence needed when they go on board the vessels. Expired statutory certificates on May 31, 2020, issued to the Philippine registered overseas ships were also made valid until November 30, 2020. Also, we embarked on the establishment of the country's Green Lane to facilitate the speedy and safe travels of seafarers, including their disembarkation and crew change during this pandemic through a joint circular with the Department of Justice, the Department of Labor and Employment, the Department of Transport, the Department of Local Government, the Department of Health, and other government agencies. To date, we have the Port of Manila, the Port of Capinpin in Bataan, and the Subic Bay Freeport Zone as crew change hubs to aid distressed seafarers. At present, we are also, our officials from the Marina and the Department of Transportation are now in Cebu to check also, doing the preparations to open up Cebu as another crew change hub. Continuous stakeholders engagements. Last is our continuous engagements with our key stakeholders to foster consultative discussions and meetings on pressing maritime concerns, mostly those directly related to the pandemic. Also this year, we managed to celebrate the Day of the Seafarer to banner their as the key worker status, albeit virtually. And this activity is a proof of your continued support as we celebrate now the National Maritime Week. Among a number of realizations that this pandemic has taught us is the imperative use of technology, especially online platforms, in reestablishing our connections for both personal and work-related reasons. This is what Marina is and will continue to take advantage of until we all completely see ourselves settled in the new normal. Corollary to this is the smooth flow of valuable information. Again, allow me to reiterate our appreciation to you, our partners, in ensuring that all efforts by Marina and the rest of the government are widely disseminated and felt by our stakeholders. This holds true for pressing concerns, including those affecting the livelihood of our seafarers and the maritime professionals. Even as we later hurdle this crisis, may all of us endeavor to look forward to a better Philippine maritime industry and live by the timeless values of empathy and compassion towards one another. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, DA Nanette Villamor Dinopol. I think one of the things that would be of interest to our seafarers um, is the announcement and the information that DA Dinopol shared with us about the extension of the validity of the seafarers record book. No? So I think this is one practical information that would be very useful to our seafarers. At this point, I think this ends part one of our program, and we pause for a 3-minute health break, during which time we will show a presentation of some of the highlights of Stella Maris and its networks in the Philippines. So yes, please feel free to stretch and to maybe have a cup of water or a cup of coffee, and we come back in 3 minutes. I'd also just like to mention that in case there will be conversations in Filipino at any point of the program, especially in part two, um, we will provide English translations, and then you can please check out the comments, the chat box or the comments section rather, for the English translation if necessary. So we will see you in 3 minutes, and enjoy the slideshow that we have prepared. Thank you. Hello, welcome back. We are now in part two of our webinar, and this part is devoted to the sharing of the many engagements of different Stella Maris centers in the Philippines. By the way, let me mention that as part of the commemoration of the 100th year of Stella Maris, the Scalabrini Migration Center is doing a research to document the history and developments of the work of Stella Maris in the Philippines. So the first three sharers are all members of the network in the Philippines, the point of origin of seafarers and fishers who are recruited to work in foreign vessels. First, I would like to invite Father Paulo Prigol to make his presentation about a current survey that was conducted by Stella Maris Manila. Father Paulo Prigol is a Scalabrinian missionary. He is chaplain and director of Stella Maris Seafarers Center, Manila. He has been part of Stella Maris Manila for 11 years. Father Paulo, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon to everybody. Good morning to everybody there in Europe and whoever is listening to us. We go straight to the point because we have a few minutes.
Sister Susan, hello.
So may I ask please, slide number 1?
Hello, sister.
Slide number 1, please. The slide number 1. PowerPoint. I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation on a survey that we conducted during the pandemic crisis. It's not yet over, but we have done it during the period that you can see there, mid of June to mid of July 2020. It was done by Scalabrini and Stella Maris. The beneficiaries you can see there, numbers are numbers. Families, we reached out to 718, 173 individuals. But if you just put there the total number of people that availed of something that it is called gift certificate, we reached out to 3,065 individuals or beneficiaries. The sponsors were Caritas Manila, ISWAN, good amount of money, we, the Scalabrinians, Stella Maris UK, thank you, Martin, he is there listening to us, and the Archdiocese of Manila. And we did have one anonymous through Bishop Stout. I will just go to the first part of the survey due to time constraints. As you can see there, basically we reached out to Luzon and we did call it phase 1. We hope and pray there will be phase 2 where we intend to reach other families in Visayas and Mindanao. Next. Age. Numbers are there, but we call your attention for the age of 41 to 45. We call it the prime age, the most productive, and yet in this survey, the most affected. If we put together 41 up, we will have 36.7%. And that means 1 every 3 seafarers that we have surveyed. Please let us keep in mind also the 51 up. Personally, I was surprised to see that number because when a seafarer is 51 up, it is not easy to find a job. And that proves the point. They were home. The next one is the marital status. As expected, the great majority were married, but we do have a large number there of single. And the single, going to the numbers of the beneficiaries, 692 were married, 199 single. Probabilities are the single ones are those working or were those working on a cruise ship. The next one is the number of children. If you go to in the Philippines, the household average is 2.6. You look into the first column on your left-hand side, 214 answered they have no children. 281, they got 2 children. And 184, only 1. All below of the average household in the Philippines. The next one is during the time of the survey, how long then had you been a seafarer? 1 to 10 years will show us that 51.7% were seafarers between 1 to 10 years. The other extreme on the right hand of our screen, we have there 119, more than 20 years. The far left side here, we have 50 less than a year. These 50 we checked, they are great majority were on the cruise ship industry. The next slide reveals the reality that we may know in the Philippines. We did ask the question, what is your current rank? You can see there A, B. And the right-hand side, if you put together the waitresses and the majority of them, others are cruise ship, we have 401 that were in the cruise ship. 50% of those that we have surveyed. I think it is worthy to mention that at least in this survey, only 75 were officers, which means 8.5%, and 415 were ratings. And to me, that is one of the challenges even mentioned by Marina Deputy Canina. That is where the challenge lies. Because currently our experience says for those who are officers to find a job in this not so easy crew change challenge, officers find a job much easier than the ratings. Our next slide is, when did your last contract end? And then we can see there, by far, January onwards, by far. If we put together July until December, of course, it is within a year, then that is the great majority. It is also amazing that some people landed the contract in 2018, 2017, or even earlier. That means either those people can no longer get a job, but perhaps some of them we know they are sick, or they can no longer find a job at all due to age limit. It is an unwritten rule, but it is there. Our next slide, it is, what kind of ship were you on board in your last trip? And the numbers are there. As we suspected, it was the height when here in Manila Bay, we had up to 31 parked cruise ship. So there there is 40%. Our next percentage there, as we can see, it is the general cargo. Again, there, the great majority are the A, B. I just called our attention that a small percentage were in the fishing vessel, which is sort of the forgotten category. Our next slide. And it is the last one. The question was, what is your current situation now in relation to your job? I can see that in the centers that we run, the survey throughout Luzon reflected what we experienced here. With contract, that is the number. And they were not deployed because of the lockdown. And then the reality of delayed deployment due to COVID-19. The second column is still there. And the first one is still there, but as we are discussing, a good number of them are able to get a job. Retrenched because COVID-19, there is a percentage, and then on extended contract because of COVID-19, only 31. Even if we are aware, the numbers are there talking about hundreds of thousands needing of crew change. Next one. It is thanks because there are still 6 areas there. Perhaps for us in Stella Maris, they are very important, which are the effects of COVID-19 on the seafarer. What are the plans of the seafarers from now until the end of the year? What is the impact of this COVID-19 in their lives? We did ask some questions on the monthly expenses. And the second to the last question, we did ask what are the 3 main financial problems. And the last question, which is very important to Stella Maris, we asked how do they think we from Stella Maris will be able to support themselves, their families. That is quite long, so we decided to stop here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Father Paulo, for also keeping to the time. And again, in the evidence-based information that Father Paulo provided to us, it's evident that the issue and the issues and challenges facing the seafaring sector, really a lot of that has to do with the problems and the challenges facing those that are stranded and those whose deployment has been delayed. No? So that particular situation does not only affect the seafarer himself, but also members of his family. And he also pointed out the particular situation and challenges that are being faced by those who had been displaced in the cruise ship industry. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much, Father. So next, I invite Father John Mission. He is the chaplain of Stella Maris Cebu. Father John has been with Stella Maris Cebu for 6 years. So Father John, welcome on board.
Yeah, good day to everyone. Maayong hapon. I am thankful to Scalabrini Migration Center that I was chosen as one of the sharers in this webinar entitled Protecting Seafarers, the Essential Pillar in Sustainable Shipping, to share how AOS Cebu also cares for the people of the sea, especially the seafarers. The slide that I am showing you consists of the photos of Stella Maris Seafarers Center, our statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary Star of the Sea, the photo of the chaplain in one of his visits to seafarers during the lockdown, and then the EOS logo. EOS Cebu will be 30 years next year since it started in 1991. But of course, before proceeding to details, let me first share with you the following truths, no facts. As a ministry initiated by the church with the people who believe in God, I believe that the EOS is strengthened by the conviction that each person is and should be recognized as a child of God. Whoever he is, whatever he does, whatever he possesses. Everybody, even if he is the least of his brethren, is worth all the gold in the world and is considered by God as worthy of his death on the cross. Each one has a right, like everybody else, to be happy right here and now, not only in heaven. Another reality that is very clear to us is that God has provided his beloved children. That means all of us with a place where you can prepare ourselves for an eternal life with him in heaven. And that place is our present world, which he has given to us, expecting that we take good care of it. And at this point, I wish to point out the very vital role that belongs to the people of the sea, most especially the seafarers. We cannot deny the fact that without them, our economy will suffer. The transfer of goods and services from one place to another will not be possible without our seafarers. But perhaps some of us may not be aware that the word seafarer does not refer only to those who are blessed with huge income, but also to those whose income doesn't come up to the expectation of the family, neighbors, etc. As we will later see in this presentation, the services that are being offered by the Apostolate of the Sea have been offered without discrimination to all the people of the sea who have been entrusted to them by our Lord. As you can see in the slide, like any other ministries and organizations, the Apostleship of the Sea Cebu has its own vision and mission and a developmental framework for us to be guided in everything that we do. In order to realize our vision and mission, we have programs and services created. The programs and services on the second slide, of course, prior to the pandemic, we usually did those things in the like, of course, the ship visitation with liturgy on board, dialogue of life, and respond to whatever practical assistance the seafarers on board might need. Ship visitation for us is an opportunity to express friendship and concern to them. We visit the sick seafarers. We give Christian values formation, legal information seminars, spiritual retreats to students in nautical schools. Yesterday, we just presided over the opening mass via Zoom for the maritime students of one of the leading maritime school here in Cebu. We conduct psycho-spiritual development for personal growth of the people of the sea. We have our social promotion program that aims to intensify the programs and services of EOS Cebu to reach out more people through our newsletters, radio program, and social media through our FB. We reach out to seafarers families in the parishes by trying to form them as basic ecclesial communities. And since 2018, we have reached out fisheries communities in the province. But in 2019, until today, we are focusing only on a certain community called Olango Island, where a number of fishers also live there. We all know that the imposition of the community quarantine for almost 200 days already has brought untold hardships and challenges, not just to the people of the sea, but even to the apostleship of the sea as an apostolic ministry, but trying to be true and faithful to its name, apostleship, that comes from the Greek word apostolos, which means to be sent out. The apostleship of the sea Cebu does not quarantine itself and does nothing. It reaches out, it serves, it continually touches the life of the people of the sea. It is doing the best it can to help those affected by the pandemic, especially in the maritime community. What are the realities and experience that we are facing here in Cebu? It's emotionally draining. It was emotionally draining to hear. No, for example, from a young seaman who stayed with us after disembarking from uh, shipboard training, ate only once a day and often asked the canteen staff if he could be given free rice. Hearing his situation, we decided to give free meals and room contributions were put on hold until such a time that all the stranded seafarers here at Stella Maris Seafarers Center were given free meals and accommodation. It will crush your heart also hearing an old woman still working as cargador or porter despite her age could not even afford to buy one sachet of coffee, telling me, Father, I just appealed to my neighbor this morning to give me one sachet of Nescafe for me and my grandsons. It will crush your heart that maritime students on board training were forcibly asked to just disembark from the vessel even during the community quarantine. They could not go home and they reached to the point that they could not afford even to buy food for their sustenance. It will crush your heart to hear testimonies of seafarers who got infected with COVID because of their continuing operation of bringing locally stranded individuals to their destination. And when they got infected, they just received less medical attention. It will crush your heart to hear a returning seafarer appealing to you, Father, please help me go home so that I can attend my mother's burial. He could not go home because the local government would not allow people to go inside their town and province. I've been thankful that my heart didn't experience eruption hearing all those things. What has the Apostleship of the Sea exactly been doing during the time of the pandemic? We've been emphasizing to the stranded seafarers, of course, the importance of the power of prayer and their power to pray. We conducted the nightly rosary and participated by the seafarers themselves. We held regular masses. We even organized motorcade procession of the image of Our Lady Star of the Sea within the vicinity of the port during those months, not just to invite but to encourage those seafarers, porters, stevedores, security guards, coast guards, and all who continually render service to the port of Cebu, not just to work but pray. The activity was realized, of course, with the full support of the Cebu Port Authority and Port Police. It is during this pandemic that I have witnessed a ship captain kneeling down alone before the altar of our chapel with a rosary in his hands praying. We provide relief assistance to porters in the fourth slide, stevedores, port security guards, and people living in the vicinity of the port here in Cebu. When the general community quarantine was declared by the government, the first sector affected were those passenger ship port workers, porters. After ships have stopped boarding passengers, something has to be done for our porters, and it has done several times, even until today. The recipients of our gift giving reached to 275 porters. Unfortunately, seafarers who still have official transactions in Cebu, in our fifth slide, could no longer go home due to the closure of air and seaports. There are at least 35 locally stranded seafarers at the beginning who are still staying at Stella Maris Center. But it reaches to 56 stranded seafarers at Stella Maris Seafarers Center. Sixth slide, our continuing service to crew on board. Even though we are not considered part of the essential services in this time of pandemic, we could not refuse the crew on board ship asking for our help to buy for their provisions and some personal needs. Since the lockdown, at least we continue to have contact with crews on board, even just at the gangway, to bring them their needed groceries. We also learned that shipboard trainers in one of the subports in Cebu who have forced to sign off from their vessels without knowing where to stay because it's impossible for them to go home because of the lockdown. Ultimately, we found out that they were being sheltered by houses of good Samaritans in the vicinity of the port and depended on the local government for their day-to-day provisions due to depleted budgets. Immediately, we have reached out to them and reported their situation to Cebu Port Authority, to ITF inspector here in Cebu. For the 7, 8, and 9 slide, especially during the hard lockdown, April to June, I relied my data of returning seafarers sent out to me by OWA Region 7. And based on that data, we've been able to send food assistance to those residing within Cebu City. We give psycho-emotional assistance. We've been calling at least 3 to 5 seafarers every day to let them feel that we care and we are after their welfare. We help them follow up or convey to OWA or other government agencies their concerns and issues. And many of those who have already arrived home express their gratitude to the Apostleship of the Sea by sending messages to us of thanksgiving. And as of the moment, these services and outreach to seafarers and porters continues. And I am always thankful, especially that on the 10th slide, the regional office of the Workers Welfare Administration for doing everything so that the returning OFWs get home safe and sound. I am thankful to our constant partnership during the time of pandemic. I am particularly thankful also to our ITF inspector here, Attorney Joselito Pidaria, for constantly working with us in dealing with the stranded seafarers, either locally or internationally. I am thankful, of course, for our EOS Philippines and the whole EOS Stella Maris network. I am thankful to ITF Seafarers Trust, to TK Foundation for giving us a grant for us to be able to sustain our operation and for us to be able also to share the blessings to those seafarers who are in need, to the porters in need in our port community. Shipping is very important in the life of the people. Without shipping, Philippines will not be Christianized also. But without the seafarer, it cannot move. The shipping industry, the government must look after the welfare of the seafarers and not just for profit. After all, as I said in the beginning, we are all children of God. So to all of us, happy World Maritime Day, happy 25th celebration of the National Seafarers Day, happy first centenary of the Apostleship of the Sea, and here in our center this coming Sunday, we celebrate also our feast day in honor of Our Lady, the Star of the Sea. Happy feast day to Our Lady, the Star of the Sea. Thank you very much.
Daghang salamat, Father John.
Thank you.
I think in the presentation of Father John, we also heard that aside from seafarers, Stella Maris also extends assistance to those who are working in the ports. No, he mentioned the porters who were in such great need, and he also mentioned providing assistance to the maritime students as well. Sa sharing ni Father John, in his sharing, I was reminded of a remark that was made by one of the migrant workers, not a Filipino, who was based in the Middle East. And I was very moved by his statement because he said something like, here it's like nobody can feel our pain. And I think the fact that Stella Maris and other people who accompany and who also respond to the needs of our brothers and sisters in need. It's very important for them to really know that they are not alone in this crisis. So maraming salamat, Father John. So from Cebu, we turn now to Mindanao, and I am pleased to introduce Sister Susan Bolaño. She is a Notre Dame sister. And yes, women are part of the work of Stella Maris. No, she has been AOS Stella Maris Port Director and Chaplain based in General Santos City for the past 15 years. So, Sister Susan, welcome on board. Mike. Sister, one moment, please. Please, the audio, we have to wait for the audio. Okay, please go ahead.
Miss Marla, hello.
Yes, we cannot hear
We're
Sister.
having trouble receiving the audio from Sister Susan.
Okay, so maybe we can make an announcement. Maybe I can make an announcement first.
Okay,
Yes,
ma'am.
to our online participants, please bear with us. We're still trying to fix some technical glitches. I think we're having problems in receiving word from Sister Susan. But while we wait for Sister Susan to come on board, I think I'd also like to mention the I'd like to mention that in the case of General Santos City, General Santos, the AOS or Stella Maris Center there provides programs and services to fishermen, no? And these are fishermen that are on board fishing vessels and they fish along in Mindanao waters, and sometimes, maybe not just sometimes, but oftentimes they might also run out beyond Philippine waters, and so they encounter experiences of being detained by Indonesian officials because they have gone beyond the limits, no, of Philippine territory. And so I understand that a large part of the work that is being done by Stella Maris in Gensan is attending to the issues of fishermen. No? Later on in the sharing of Father Yanse, based in Kaohsiung, he will be sharing with us the work that they do on the destination side, because Taiwan is an important employer. Taiwanese foreign vessels, rather, are an important employer of fishermen coming not only from the Philippines, but also fishermen coming from Vietnam and Indonesia as well. So let me just check if we are okay now or about to be okay. Dax, can we try? Sister, can we try again? No sound. Oh, sorry, sister, there's no
Ma'am, I
sound.
hope Sister can kindly reconnect po sa platform.
Okay.
If she can
So,
refresh her browser or yeah.
okay. Yes. Sister, the advice is if you can reconnect. If you can reconnect to your browser. Yes, the advice is to please refresh your browser. I think this is really part of our experience. Part of our new, I know a lot of people would want to refer to this as new normal, but sometimes I think it's part of our new abnormal. No? But I've also been learning some new language and terminologies in these online platforms. And one of them is one important term that I learned recently is this concept of digital empathy, that we also try to be as understanding as possible in dealing with whatever untoward events happen while we are doing these things online. So yes, while waiting for sister, maybe even we can manage also our time by maybe I can say a few things and introduce ahead in time the speaker that will come after Sister Susan, and that will be Father Yanse. His full name is Father Ansensius Guntur. He's also a Scalabrinian missionary, and he's the port chaplain and director of Stella Maris International Service Center in Kaohsiung. So, as part of the research that we are doing in documenting the history and the developments of Stella Maris centers here in the Philippines, we have been reviewing one of the magazines that was introduced and was launched in 1996. I think it was shown in the PowerPoint presentation earlier. The magazine is called Ahoy. And I was quite surprised to find out that as far back as the 1990s, there were the concerns of fishermen working on foreign fishing vessels have already been raised. No? And in one of the early editions of Ahoy magazine, it was interesting to discover that illegal recruitment of Filipino fishermen to work on Taiwanese fishing vessels occurred in the area of Apari, because that's the part of the Philippines that is pretty close to Taiwan. And the various articles were relating stories of how sometimes Taiwanese fishing vessels would come to Apari and then just recruit Filipino fishers, no? Right there and then. So at some point, there was a center that was established there to be able to regulate, no? And to be able to document also the departure of Filipino fishermen so that they will also encounter decent work conditions, especially when they are already outside of the Philippines. So let's welcome back Sister Susan, and let's try again. Sister, can you try to speak, and we'll see if...
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
now.
Can I be heard already? I cannot hear you, Marla.
Sister, we
yeah,
can hear you now.
Okay, so I can hear you now. Okay, finally. Okay, so good afternoon again. Once again, good afternoon and good morning to the East Asia. This is Stella Marie Seafarers Drop-in Center. We are located in General Santos City, that's in the southern part of the Philippines. What you can see is this is our old office and this is our new office now. We are pulled out in a container van. Now we are given an office by the Philippine Port Authority. It's a space for us where we can have our drop-in center for the seafarers. Next slide. We will present to you our vision, mission, and our strategies in approaching the services to the seafarers. So we have a vision. It's a Catholic organization that promotes spiritual well-being and human development of seafarers, fishers, and their families, regardless of race, culture, and religion. This is our AOS Philippines statement, and this is where we are following as a ministry in the General Santos City. And our mission statement is that AOS pastoral workers commit to creatively implement the guidelines and directives provided by the Church in the pastoral care for the people of the sea. So you have to go out and really reach out to the seafarers and people of the sea, including the fishers and those that are survived by the fruit of the sea. You know? Next slide. Then our strategic goals, that as we serve the people, that the rights of the people of the sea are protected, and that our services through Stella Marie Seafarers Center is improved, strengthened, and sustained. And then seafarers on ship calls experience a life-giving support coming from the Stella Marie Center. Then we have the goals to empower people of the sea and their families, and also sustaining partnerships and linkages in order to support our services. Our focus sectors, we have the click please. We have the seafarers and their families. Kindly click. And we have the fishers and their families. And we have also those who are victims of human trafficking and social injustices in the process of their services in their workplaces. Next slide. Our development strategies, we have the pastoral care for seafarers, fishers, and their families. And click, please. So in the pastoral care for seafarers, we have the ship visitation. This is where we go up to the vessels and distribute some reading materials, newspapers, magazines, and religious articles like Bible, rosary beads, and all those things that we feel it is needed in order to strengthen their faith as they go through their voyage. And then we also have we conduct prayer sessions on board among the onboard seafarers. And also we have 5 Bible reflections, or we call it the Laudato Si, where the seafarers have to share their faith and also their own experiences while on board. Then we have the Eucharistic celebration, and this is on call because we do by appointment that the vessel has to call us before they would come so that we can look for priests who will celebrate the liturgy with them. And then second is the pastoral care. We have assistance to the families. We have seafarers families are organized. We have to get the families so that we can also educate them, especially the wives and the parents, on how to handle the subsidy, the finances given to them by the seafarers. Then we have religious formation or recollections, and our recollection depends on the thematic approach. We have the during Lenten season, and also during Christmas tide, and then also we have counseling for those seafarers who needed counseling in their time of when they are in the land base. Then we have assistance on family concerns because when seafarers are out in their work, the families are left behind and they are there with us. Then we have the legal issues and financial assistance to the families. No? Then second strategy we have is the legal and paralegal services, handling or management of seafarers and fishers complaints. What are the issues and concerns affecting them while they are on board, and the fishers while they are on board also. And also we have legal assistance, assist them in the filing of legal cases of cases that are affecting seafarers and fishers. Right now we are handling around active cases. We are handling 7 cases, and we also have cases that are affecting our fishers. For this year, we won in the case of illegal trafficking, where the seafarers the fishers were put under the Witness Protection Program by the Department of Justice. And then we have also, for part of legal assistance, is the repatriation of fishers and seafarers. We have for since 2011 up to the present, we are able to repatriate 525 fishers who are detained in the different countries, particularly in Indonesia. And also we have repatriated fishers, both living and the dead. So they come to us and ask for our assistance. That is not only within the scope of our capillaries, but also even right now we are assisting seafarers like in Aklan, that's in Visayas, no. So they can get our names and they ask for our support, and we are working for the repatriation of those who are victims, and we have just repatriated assisted in the repatriation of the victims of the MV Gulf shipping, no. So the repatriation is really doing us a lot here in General Santos City among fishers. And we are expecting for 41 fishers to arrive soon at any time, no? At any time. We are already informed that around 41 fishers from Indonesia are coming in. Next slide, please. And then we have the information education campaign, advocacy, and policy lobbying. We have the education on rights of the seafarers through the MLC 2006. And we also conduct lobbying. We lobby for the Fishers Law and the Department of Labor and Employment, Department Administrative Order 156-16. This is, we're trying to lobby for the regularization of commercial fishers, those that are going on board, no, on the APSIS. And we have also lobbied for the adoption of the Presidential Proclamation. For example, the Presidential Proclamation number 1094, that is recognizing the Seafarers Day on the last Sunday of September. and we are working on it. And we also have lobbied for the adoption of Presidential Proclamation 261 that is celebrating the National Fisher Folks Day on May 31. And we were successful in lobbying this to the local government unit. And for the last 2 years, we are already, the local government unit is already initiating the celebration of the Fisher Folks Day every May 31. And then we also have the maritime environmental concerns. In other words, we are on the sustainability because we have a fish depletion in Sarangani Bay. So we are also lobbying for that our fishers may observe all of those that for the sustainability of fisher folks, of fishes in the sea. Then we have the national celebrations. So we have the National Seafarers Day every last Sunday of September. This has been celebrated in General Santos City since 2006. This is now our 14th year of celebration of the National Seafarers Day in General Santos City. And we have also the National Fisher Folks Day every May 31. And we are now in the 4th year of celebrating this Fisher Folks Day, giving recognition to the contribution of the Fisher Folks in making General Santos City as the tuna center in the Philippines. Then we are also celebrating here the Maritime Week every last week of September. We are very much in partnership with the Marina. And also we have the local celebrations here. You know, General Santos City, we have the Mission Destination on Tuna Festival. So we were able to lobby to the local government unit that they are going to include fishers in the Tuna Festival. And they did. That was 2 years ago. So we have every Tuna Festival, there's always one day, one evening for the fisher folks. And we call that the Fishers Night. Or in the Philippines, Tagalog, we call it Gabi na Mandaragat. And our fishers are given the recognition of how they are contributing in the economy of the country and of the city. Next slide, please. Next slide. Then we have the networking and linkaging. We are establishing partnerships and linkages with the international and local institutions. No? So we have EOS International, we have EOS Philippines, we are part of the EOS Philippines, and we are in partnership with all other EOS in the country. And we are also in partnership with the International Christian Maritime Association. So for the activities locally and the national and international, we form part of their activities. And we have, of course, we are in partnership with the International Transport Federation and the International Seafarers Welfare Assistance Network and all other international bodies that we feel they are supporting our seafarers and fishers. Then we are also in partnership with the government line agencies here that are related to the host services are related to the fishers and those people at sea. Then also we have the seafarers and fishers, the civil society organizations that are engaged in the fishers, especially here in General Santos City. Then we have the partnerships with local government unit, the government line agencies and law firms, because we are assisting fishers and seafarers on their legal cases. So we have to tap government law firms or private law firms to assist us in securing the legal support for the seafarers and fishers who have complaints or cases to file. Then we have linkages and coordination with local churches, of course, our diocese and the parishes where our seafarers and fishers belongs. No? Then, next slide. Then, of course, the institutional development of our Stella Maris. So we are a self-supporting, self-sustaining institution here, program here. So we have to have a resource generation to be able to support our ministry, our services to the fishers and seafarers and their families. Then we have the personal chaplaincy capability building. So our personnel has to be developed to be able to capacitate in terms of providing services to the fishers and seafarers. Then, of course, you have the facilities here, which we are provided by the Philippine Port Authority. We are provided space and, of course, the transportation that we have as provided by ITF. Then we have the canteen where our porters, our workers in the port are being served by this canteen, and also some seafarers who would like to assist to be of service, no, by the country. And then we have the other basic institutional legal requirements that we have to comply to be able to ensure that the Stella Maris Seafarers Center are sustained and are developed in terms of servicing, in terms of presence in the port, and in terms of presence to the lives of the people of the sea. Next slide. And that is it. Thank you very much. So we have the current staff. We have the Sister Susan, myself there, and we have Orly, who is our program coordinator for the Stella Maris Seafarers Center. So thank you very much, and good afternoon again.
At least from Sister's presentation, there was something that was very encouraging. I think Sister mentioned that they won a case, no, a trafficking case, no. So that one, I think, is a hard-won victory, but it's a very encouraging sign that there's this particular channel that can be used so that the protection of fishermen is also guaranteed. No? So maraming salamat, sister. And now I think we go to Father Yance's presentation. I have briefly introduced him earlier as the port chaplain and director of Stella Maris International Service Center in Kaohsiung, Taiwan. So we are very fortunate that we also get to have a view of a Stella Maris Center that is operating on the destination side. Father Yance.
Hello po.
Hi. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to thank the Scalabrini Migration Center for inviting Stella Maris Kaohsiung to be part of this webinar. I was asked by Scalabrini Migration Center to share something about our work for the fishers in Kaohsiung. Next slide, please. We know that Kaohsiung is one of the largest ports in Taiwan. Around 200 boats and fishing vessels are docking in Kaohsiung every day. And they employ more than 30,000 foreign fishers. It is very interesting when we talk about foreign fishers in Taiwan. I can say that there is a kind of double standard policy. Please, next slide. Double standard policy. Because they try to categorize the fishers in two categories. The first is sea-based fishers, and the other one is land-based fishers. The sea-based fishers are the ones who go fishing beyond Taiwan water, while for the land-based fishers are the ones who are fishing in Taiwan water. And the way they manage the fishers is totally different from sea-based and land-based. In terms of contract recruitment and labor, the sea-based fishers, they are under fishery agency, Taiwan Council of Agriculture. Meanwhile, the land-based fishers, they are under the Ministry of Labor, Taiwan. For the legal framework and the implementation of law, it is under the regulations of the authorization and management of overseas employment of foreign crew members, while for the land-based, they are protected by the Employment Service Act in Taiwan. And when we talk about the salary also is totally different between sea-based and land-based fishers. For the sea-based, they receive at least $450. This is only applicable for the longliners with Taiwan flag fishing vessel. And for the land-based, they receive 23,000 Taiwan dollar, or in US dollar is around more than 700 US dollar. And for the basic benefits, for the sea-based, they have only commercial and private insurance policy when they met the accidents or for life insurance. While for the land-based, since it is under Employment Service Act, they obtain the labor and national health insurance policy coverage. For the means of entry and measure of stay, the sea-based fishers, they don't have the ARC. they don't have the health card, not included also in SLA, and working beyond Republic of China or Taiwan in the exclusive economic zone. But for the land-based, they have the ARC health card and monitored by Taiwan Labor Bureau and accorded with the necessary benefits, overtime pay, and bonuses. When we know these things, also we will know also when we have the problem to whom we will go to solve the problem. Next slide, please. So what the Stella Maris do for the fishers? Since December, since October last year until this month of August, we have served 2,448 fishers. 60% of them are from Indonesia, 38% of them from the Philippines. The others are from Vietnam, from Myanmar, from Vanuatu, from Kiribati, and from mainland China. So next slide, please. Next slide. So what we do for the fishers, just like other Stella Maris present in all over the world, we do the ship visits. Since December 2019 to August 2020, along with the Indonesian, Filipinos, and Vietnamese volunteers, we have visited 65 fishing vessels. In our ship visit, we have the opportunity to listen to the stories of the fishers and to understand more about their reality. It is very interesting to see how the fishers are very welcoming when we come to visit them in the ship. Certainly, we gave them some rosaries, foods, clothes, and other things. Please, next slide. Besides ship visits, we also offer spiritual assistance. You know that Filipinos are very, very spiritual. No, most of the time they ask for masses. That's why we try our best to offer spiritual assistance for them, to celebrate masses for them. And then we have asked the building of maritime, the building near to the port for us to celebrate Mass. Before we celebrate Mass every Friday at 7 p.m. But since last March 26, we start celebrating Mass there due to COVID-19. But so far we have celebrated 30 Masses for the fishers. Most of them are Filipinos. And then we also try to offer programs and activities for health and mental wellness. In this moment of COVID-19, one of the preventive measures that we do is to buy head thermometer and so that we can measure their body temperature, and have distributed more than 2,000 face masks, 800 hand sanitizers, and several bottles of disinfectants. For this, I'm very grateful to Father Bruno and Cardinal Tucson, who have wrote letter to the Embassy of Taiwan in Vatican to ask their government to donate to us this health equipment. Besides for their health purposes, we also do something for their mental health. We know that for the fishers, they are at sea at least 6 months. Some even spend more than 2 years in the sea. So, and they have 1 or 2 months in the port. So while they are at port, we offer some programs and activities for their refreshment. We visit interesting sites, recreational nights with them in Stella Maris every Saturday, and also for organizing some sports. And we hope that if from the sea they bring us the stories of hardship, stories of loneliness, stories of depression, but from the land, when they go back to the sea, they can bring good memories of having brotherhood, to having friendship in the port. Next slide, please. And then also we offer counseling and legal assistance. You know that there are a lot of problems they encounter, for example, some accidents, and they need counseling. And also we do some legal assistance. We give counseling for the fishers in difficulty. We have encountered fishers with various problems related to their work and families back home. Some of the fishers are in prison. We went to visit them, try to console them, and try to connect them with their families back home. And in these last 2 years, we have assisted more than 10 people related to legal, how do you call this, for the legal assistance. The problems related to unpaid salary, salary deduction, maltreatment, and occupational accidents. When we solve the problem, as I told you earlier, for the land-based, we have to go to labor bureau to have the negotiation and then solve their problems. But if it is longliner or sea-based fishers, we have to go to fishery agency. Next slide, please. We offer also some education on know your rights and obligations, because if you see the fishers in Taiwan, most of them are elementary or high school graduates. A lot of them, they do not know the laws. They don't even understand the working contract that they have. So we try to explain to them, organize some activities with them, and then explain about their rights and their obligations. And thank God they are really listening to us. Many of them, they ask questions about their situation. That's why slowly people come to us to have consultation about their working contract. Next slide, please. Excuse me, next slide. And I close my sharing with these vulnerabilities of the fishers. As I tell you before, I spend a lot of time talking with them, spending time also to be with them, going out with them, eating with them. And they, how do you call it? They tell there's a lot of stories, and I know them better. So I discovered that, especially from Indonesia, most of them are elementary graduates. So it is really difficult for them to understand the rules and regulations. What is important for them is just to work, and then they get the salary. They don't understand other things about their rights. That's why we have to teach them more. And they always complain about long working hours. What I remember really well, when some of them told me like this. He was a Filipino. He told me like this: Father, alam mo, you know that we pray for the storm, because if there is a storm, we will take rest. But if there is no storm, the sea is very calm, then we have to work for more than 20 hours. I was really surprised to know that. It is true that most of the time they are working for long hours when the sea is very calm. That's why you cannot control them, because there is no internet, anything. But that's part of their life already. The nature of their work is really difficult. May I see again the slide, please? Another problem that I encounter is about the salary problem. This is the complaint that we always receive from them. So so we bring the cases to the labor bureau or to the fishery agency, and most of the time it is about the salary deduction or unpaid salary. You know that the salary for the fishers are very small, especially for the longliners. The longliners under Taiwan fishing flag is better, because they get 450 a month. Worse for those foreign fishing flag vessels. They only got $300 US a month, with some deductions like $100 for contract insurance, $100 for agency fee, and 50 receive at home, 50 in the ship. This is, we have to find solutions how to increase their salary. And then the fourth problem is psychological problem. Due to working conditions, lack of rest, relational problems with the leaders or with fellow crews. And 5, lack of communication. They cannot communicate because there is no internet in the sea. They spend 6 months at least in the sea, and they cannot communicate with their families back home. Imagine if he does not like to share his story to the people in the ship, it is difficult. Then he has to live in depression most of the time. And we also receive any stories of maltreatment, how they were abused, they were verbally abused. I close my presentation with the story of a Filipino that we help. It's about psychological problem. In the middle of the night, she called from the ship, please, somebody sent a message from the Philippines, please, Father, can you help my brother? He's in the ship, he's afraid to go back to the ship. I do not know what is the reason. So I went to the port and then talked to him. It seems like that guy is very, afraid to go back to the ship, afraid to meet people in the ship. And so I bring to Stella Maris. The next day, I try coordinate with Meko and Ova, and we were able to solve the problem to send him back home. He was so happy. Also, the family in the Philippines is very happy. I guess that's all I want to share to you. And thank you again for this opportunity to share our experience in Kaohsiung.
Terima kasih. Thank you very much,
Sama-sama.
Father Yanse.
Sama-sama, Te.
Yeah. Thank you very much. The stories that Father Yanse shared with us are very heartbreaking. And actually, the many conditions faced by fishermen, they remind us of forced labor conditions and even trafficking, in some cases. So this is also a reminder to us that when we think about trafficking or those people in traffic-like situations, it also affects men as well, and particularly in the case of the fishing sector. So thanks again, Father Yanse.
Salamat po.
Yes. Our final sharer is Mr. Martin Foley. He's the Chief Executive and European Regional Coordinator of Stella Maris UK. So he's a lawyer by training. He has been working in the not-for-profit sector for over 15 years. And of course, Stella Maris UK is in the forefront for the preparation of the celebration of the centenary and in charting the future of Stella Maris. So welcome on board, Martin.
Thank you, Marla. Good afternoon, everyone. It's morning here in the UK, but it's been inspiring to listen to you all this morning. We here in the UK and in Europe are inspired by the work of Filipino seafarers, fishers, and their families. Those of us who live in Europe have much to learn from you in responding to the needs of the people of the sea. Today is the feast of Our Lady, Star of the Sea, and also World Maritime Day. And on this important feast day, I'm delighted to share with you a video, which I hope is ready, a video which marks the launch of our new logo, the logo for Stella Maris, the name by which we are known to seafarers and fishers and their families all around the world. So this video has been produced to mark the launch of our new logo, and also the launch of our centenary year, which begins on the 4th of October in Glasgow, the city where we were founded, and we'll be marking the launch of our centenary year with a mass in Glasgow, celebrated by the Archbishop of Glasgow, to which you will all be virtually invited. So keep an eye out on Facebook and email and Twitter for an invitation to join us virtually for the Mass on the 4th of October. So can we begin the video now, please? Okay, so I hope you liked
Okay,
that
so I
video.
hope you liked that video.
It's now available, as you can see,
It's
from our
now
website.
available, as you can see from our website.
I'm getting a bit of feedback when I speak.
I'm getting a bit of feedback when I speak.
Go ahead, sir, Martin.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry for that.
It's okay. So yes, please do watch the video and share it as widely as you possibly can. I appreciate time is limited. So just to bring my presentation to a close, I believe our greatest strength at Stella Maris is the global network that exists in support of seafarers and fishers and their families, present in over 300 ports around the world. We are there for seafarers and fishers, particularly during this time of pandemic. You know, we are the arm around the shoulder, the quiet prayer in a mess room, and now the presence virtually through Facebook, Messenger, or other virtual means. And my appeal to you today is that we redouble our efforts in service of seafarers and fishers and their families. They trust us. They know what Stella Maris is, and that trust is a valuable currency that we mustn't squander. And when we work together, when we utilize the strength of our network, we make such a difference to the lives of the people of the sea. So my final appeal to you is that we use the opportunities presented by our centenary year to promote the mission of Stella Maris, to deepen the bonds between us around the world. Please do join the centenary mass on the 4th of October. Details will be circulated shortly, and share those details with all of your contacts. It's a great sadness to us in the UK that we are not able to welcome you all to Glasgow this month for our centenary. The next best thing is that we join with each other in prayer. So I look forward to joining with many of you in prayer on the 4th of October. Thank you again, Marla, and the Scalabrini Migration Center for this invitation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Martin. So we thank you, aside from the Scalabrini Migration Center, but also with Stella Maris Philippines. And I think Martin's message, his invitation to be present also on the 4th of October, to be part also of the church celebration. There's going to be a mass, right? So we'll take note of that. And I'd also just maybe also want to end this on a positive note as well, and as a challenge as well, that it does take a global village to support seafarers and fishers. So thankfully, there's now more than 300 Stella Maris centers all over the world that can extend a helping hand and a presence to seafarers and fishers. So thank you. And we are coming to a close. It is my pleasure, together with Stella Maris Philippines, we would like to thank you for staying with us and also for bearing with us through the many technical glitches. Of course, we'd like to extend our deepest thanks to all our sharers and resource persons whose presentations urge us to continue to work that our laws and policies do not take seafarers and fishers for granted. Thank you to our audience for joining us today. We will have other webinars in the coming months and we'll keep you updated. Please kindly complete the evaluation form to help us improve our webinars. And we will also be checking the comment section later on It's difficult for us to respond to them now, but we will get back to you. And we hope that we could also address your concerns. Also, a recording of this webinar will be uploaded soonest. And I'd like to thank my colleagues here at the Scalabrini Migration Center for their ever reliable support. And many thanks to our tech team, Dax Dakila, Justin Interno, and Jim Cano of Dream Agri Media Tech for their assistance. But there's one more thing. Finally, for his closing message and concluding remarks, I'd like to invite Monsignor Euticiano Legitimas. He's the National Director of Stella Maris Philippines, our partner in holding this webinar. Monsignor Tex, as he is popularly known, is also parish priest of San Isidro Labrador Parish, Gusa, Cagayan de Oro City. In his more than 4 decades as a priest, Monsignor Tex has accumulated a rich experience in various fields, including formation, vocation promotion, prison ministry, as spiritual director, and as parish priest in several other parishes. Monsignor Tex, we look forward to your closing remarks and prayer.
Thank you. Bishop Stud, Ms. Nunette Bellamor, Dinopol of Marina, Father Bruno, Father Paulo, all the chaplains and the different ports here in the Philippines and abroad.
Has accumulated a rich experience in various fields.
Our partners and supporters and the Maritime Apostolates, the PPA, PCC, PCGA, POAE, and of course, Bureau of Customs, and other government agencies, and shipping industries, our vendors and porters, seafarers and their families, and of course, the Scalabrinian community. Greetings. This year is indeed a very challenging year for all of us, and the seafaring industry was not spared by this pandemic. Thousands of seafarers, including shipping and manning companies, are severely affected, and somehow this has led us to reflect and ask if there is still a bright future for this industry. We cannot help but be anxious of what will happen to thousands of seafarers and their families who are totally dependent on this industry for a living. Earlier, the first casualties are the cruise ships, as they are considered non-essential. But is there such thing as non-essential for people who need to work to feed a hungry stomach? Fortunately, the Philippines, being an archipelago, is giving us a glimpse of hope that whether we like it or not, goods should be moved, and that would mean they still have work to do, but how soon this could normalize is still something we need to be patient about. A few months ago, we pride ourselves for being the largest pool of seafarers, contributing almost 30% of the total seafarers all over the world. But now, the equation has been changed. This would mean we are also affected the most by the slowing down of sailing and trading brought about by this pandemic. Total remittances of our seafarers have been on increasing trend all these years, and this has really helped our economy to stay afloat during financial crisis. Today, this would mean the other way around. With the reduction of a huge income, our economy will also be greatly affected. As a welfare group, the things that we see bother us a lot. It's not easy to be seeing them affected by this pandemic. Our modern-day heroes are now on the verge of depression, uncertain of what will happen to them in the weeks, months, and even years to come. Even a simple change screw becomes a global concern. The fear of losing their means of livelihood is even more than their fears of contracting COVID-19. It also bleeds our hearts seeing them and their families suffer, especially with the recent incident when our seafarers succumbed to the perils of the sea. It hurts us even more if we cannot do anything about it. How could we comfort our father, mother, husband, wife, and children who are excited for the return of their loved ones after their employment contract. How could we tell them it's okay when it is not okay, really? But then we need to be there hoping that our presence would ease their pains and sufferings. Suddenly, our work becomes as challenging as theirs when we look at it on a bigger picture that we need each other. Indeed, seafarers matter. We need them to make life easier and exciting. We need them to make this world go round and make progress a reality. And they also need us to cheer them up when things are not okay. They need us today when others don't see their significance and don't appreciate what they are doing. They need us to assist them in any way we can when they need help. Seafarers are our key workers, our frontliners, and we are here for them to let them know that they are not alone and they are not forgotten. Let us always remember our fellow seafarers who, on account of their particular employment at sea, are often deprived of the grace and comfort of the Eucharistic celebration. We always pray for them, for their safety, and for the grace of the Spirit, so that the bonds of love and unity with their families may remain strong in spite of their physical separation. In fact, every day I have Mass live stream for them. Very striking, very touching. Some people coming from or staying in Saudi Arabia and other places, especially on the sea. They are texting me, "Thank you, Monsignor, for the masses." So we really need to always remember them, especially in our prayers and our masses. Many remain steadfast in their faith and become witnesses of the values of Christian living in all circumstances. We always remember also those who died at sea. To all of you, my dear friends, we celebrate. Thank you for celebrating this Maritime Week and Seafarers and our National Seafarers Day. Sa lahat, mabuhay tayong lahat. Mabuhay ang ating mga marino. Thank you.
With that very inspiring message, we close our webinar for today. We thank you once again for staying with us up to the very end. We have extended our time, but hopefully that the sharing that was given to us by our various resource persons have been worthwhile and very fruitful. So please keep safe, and we will keep you updated for our upcoming webinars. Magandang gabi po. Good evening. Thank you.